Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I got a interesting SEVAGOTH build to show you. Now don't click away too fast, this is not a clunky build. This is some real stuff. You're gonna want to see this. So, when the update dropped with Jade Shadow, they gave him a new augment called Dark Propagation, which is, it's alright, it's pretty good. It makes it more convenient because now you automatically get a Sow cast when you kill them, including if they die from his shadows. So it's not as spammy and annoying as before. But more importantly, they also made Sow recastable. So you no longer have to run low duration builds to not screw yourself over when you miscast Sow in a bad spot that doesn't have enough enemies around. But this augment was not play tested. And you want to know the reason why? It's because of this augment, his older augment. Now, you might recall once upon a time, I showcased this in a Reap and Sow 2.0 build about half a year ago, where you could use it to kill. This is already the updated version. This augment made it so that, not just the crit chance, but if you're playing an armor strip build with Pillage and they die, they produce more shadows, up to a maximum of 3 extra ones. So you can have 4 of them flying around and killing stuff off. Cool. The issue was, Sow would only be casted in the area that you were in. Thus, anything that was not nearby you would not die. It just made it better at killing enemies nearby by multiplying your damage by 4. Well, here comes Jade Shadow. They nerf armor. Instead of enemies having obscene armor on Steel Path, they cap it 90% damage reduction. So you might think that, well, you lose 90% of your damage. Like, how's that? It's a big difference. It's a really big difference. So Reap used to deal about like 2-3% damage to enemies on Steel Path because of armor. Now it deals 10. It deals way, way, way more than before. This is base Steel Path. And on top of that, being able to deal more damage means you'll kill enemies faster to spawn more clones faster. But when you kill enemies that were marked by your 2, which you obviously would, because that's how you start the cascade, those enemies that died will spread his 2 themselves forever. There's no limit to how many times this can proc. It will keep procking, and what you're going to notice is as enemies die across the room, it will keep spreading across to the far side, and literally everything will get tagged by this. Why is this so strong? Well, because now we know that the shadows deal enough damage, but 2, the shadows target parts of the map that you have not killed enemies at. So they will automatically go towards and split up or navigate wherever there are survivors that you have not dealt with, automatically kill them, automatically recast Sow in the area where you are not at, and allow new enemies to be exploded by the ghosts traveling to them again. I used this build, and I was getting over 150 KPM on base Steel Path. Both builds. Armor Strip build and Roar build. Roar build works for base Steel Path, because you will deal enough damage to kill instantly. If you want to play this for endurance and more comfort on survivability, I would recommend using Pillage instead. But I'm going to showcase with the Roar build first. The Pillage build does have Blessing. Do note that this can be swapped out in endurance for either Energize, because it has better energy economy, so it's not really needed. But I would recommend considering running Molt Efficiency, because this, most importantly, will make your shadows last longer. The longer they last, the more enemies they can kill, the more Sow they can spread, and the more enemies that will allow them to re-kill and detonate, since if an enemy is not marked by your 2, they won't die. So let's run the Roar build, and I'm going to take this into fully armored Grenier on Steel Path Sedna. Yo, Too Much Nachos, thank you so much for the Prime. Let's go. Welcome, welcome. Enjoy the emotes. Hope you have a wonderful stay. So, let's do this. Guys, this is the reckoning of SEVAGOTH. He's coming back. He's coming back strong. You don't need to worry about your other buffs and things and whatnot. It's literally just cast Roar and go. You just go around 2+1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. And because your shadows destroy everything, like, look, if I kill these enemies here and I do this, I can stay here. Okay, these ones got dragged over to me. But if I do this, look. You just need to find an area that has a decent density of enemies, and they will literally clear everything out for you. So, I'm still stacking my strength too, as well, because it is a Molt augmented build. But notice how everything in that hallway over there also died with the red dots on the map. And look what happens when I do this. Look at that. It just cleaned out the entire hallway. I ran out of shadows, so they produced more because I was underneath the limit. So if there was ever a time that you wanted to play SEVAGOTH, it's probably now. We have these ones that have not been tagged. And my energy economy is like mostly fine. I know I didn't run it out super high, but I'm able to keep up, and I can kind of just run after my shadows, and well, everything is dying too. Yo, Porthos, meat milk. Thank you so much for the gifted again. Much appreciated. And you don't even need to worry about heals if you have chip damage. I just got one shot there, not paying attention. But the nice thing about it is that casting your 2-in-1 like this heals you too. So it can typically offset the little bit of damage. The only problem you might notice is your shadows kill so well that you just might not even have enemies to kill with your operator so you can revive yourself. Because I'm gonna go kill enemies, and even Xmas units just get completely dumpstered by this. Because it is true damage after all, and doesn't really care that much about enemies' damage reduction beyond just armor itself. And look, they have the ones over here. And that's all you gotta do. You just go around casting these. Now, you might also want to consider having Rolling Guard on the build if, like, status effects like that are an issue. This is what I want to demonstrate here. Yes, I was aware I was going to die, since this is a situation you can have happen when you're expecting enemies to die, but instead they don't, and they shoot back, and you're like, oh no, status proc. Just wait until the end. I'm going to show you which mod I would drop to fit it on, because another thing I noticed with this build is that you don't really need range anymore. Since every single time your shadows kill, they spawn your 2 directly on top of the enemies that you kill. I got killed by a mantle enemy. DE, when are we going to speed up, or just, like, can we cancel mantles, please? You can't animation cancel them. You mantle something, you die. And it's been like that for so long. Please, please, please. Let me do something about the unwanted mantles. But yeah, so as you can see, this is a shield gate build. I have 2 augurs on my epitaph, as well as brief respite as my aura. However, the what is it? The pillage build is actually a split health tank and shield gating build for comforting ease of use at base steel path, so that you don't have to deal with stuff like this. Obviously, in endurance, you would swap out the things that help you tank a bit better, like blessing on that build. But that otherwise, if you want to play the roar version, you got to be fast with your hands, because we are on catalyzing shields, which only gives you 1.33 seconds to respond. I'm not running out of energy. It's just me being, like, not paying attention or trying harder. If you really wanted to, I guess you could try and find a way to put adaptation and armor on this thing, but I don't really see how I'm going to do that immediately, because the version of the build does not leave you that much room for a leeway. So we do have this here. Why am I unable to hit? Can we explain the hitbox on that, please? How did I miss 3 in a row? Oh, here's the other nice thing. Even when you revive, you can just do this. You're back to killing. So, like, while Augmented is there, it is not actually required for the build to be working. It's more just, like, extra buffs that help out the build more. But resetting your Augmented stacks do not actually prevent you from killing stuff at base steel path. I didn't even have Roar active there. So now we're going to have an Acolyte that spawns in too. One thing to consider, damage is not absolutely amazing against Acolytes. Unless you have a lot of enemies around them, then it's decent. But one-on-one, yeah, you're going to be going for this for a bit. So what I would say is if you want to kill Acolytes quickly with this method, instead of using, say, a weapon, then just path them into enemies, or like go over to where a bunch of enemies are at as they spawn in, and cast. What you will do is when they spawn in, you cast your 2 and then this to die. So that's what I would say about this particular SEVAGOTH right now. We have passed the 5-minute mark. We should be able to leave. And I'm going to show another quick look at the build at the end to discuss on what the heck is actually going on, and other options if you wanted to feel a little bit more comfortable. As you did see that those slash procs were kind of just eating me alive, as I don't have Rolling Guard to remove status effects, and it is a shield gate build, which means I essentially have no damage reduction on anything at all. Also, another pro tip, if you're in solo and you don't want to wait out this time, as soon as it gives you the 10-second countdown, you can press space, return back to ship, skip the timer. I don't know why I have to always bring this up, but I feel like from time to time, there will be people that don't know that exists. So, for this build, if you want to put Rolling Guard on it, what I would honestly say, because we have Energize, you're going to give up SEVAGOTH and run blue shards for energy max. That's what you're going to do. This build doesn't need to worry as much because you're already spam casting Pillage anyways. You also actually have adaptation with Blessing. So as you kill enemies off and the mission goes on, you should end up with 1,360 health, which won't let you get killed instantly. But for Endurance, this is the slot that gets replaced by Rolling Guard. This gets replaced by Aegis or Molt Efficiency for more duration. On the Pillage build, you are going to want to run 30% strength in Archon Shards, be it 2 Tau Forged or normal. The reason why you do this is so you can hit 229 strength with this build, because I want to keep good efficiency, so you don't have to worry about energy. Molt Augmented plus Madurai Sling Strength buff gives another 100%, which will put you at 329, which is one above the 328 for Pillage to full strip in one single cast when you have Corrosive Projection. That is the SEVAGOTH build today. I don't even care if you use Nautilus. Thank you all for watching. A like and subscribe goes a long way to helping out the channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.